The Next Wave campaign is meant to help focus our attention on what it takes to prepare the way for the next wave of our friends, family members, and neighbors to join us here at Friendship Church. In this campaign, we're going to concentrate on several key limiters and several strategic assets we need to welcome this next wave. The list is impressive, and so we're going to start right here in this room. In the auditorium of our church, this is the most important hour of ministry of the week. It is probably the single ministry that touches every family on an ongoing basis. Having room for a new family to come and to sit together is a basic hospitality in inviting them to Christ and His church. In the back of the auditorium is this temporary wall. Behind the wall are staff offices and a storage room. We need to take this wall out and return that space to be a part of our auditorium seating. This allows us to increase our seating by about a third, which is 80 seats. 80 seats means 80 more people who are able to follow Christ and join us in His church. Removing the temporary wall from the back of the auditorium creates a kind of ripple effect. The offices that were behind that wall need to find a new home. Behind me is what we call the Salt's House. It's a residence we purchased some years ago, mainly to gain street access to Salt's Road. Now the home has a valuable purpose. We're going to remove this berm and connect to a new entrance on that home with a wide sidewalk, modify its exterior to match our present church building, and change the floor plan to be functional as a staff office suite. A second important use of the Salt's House is the creation of a youth center. The relocated offices will only use about a third of this building, and so that allows a significant floor space to be remodeled into use as a youth programming space. Ministry to middle and high school youth is very challenging, and having a place themed and designed, decorated for their own will be a very big deal for our youth ministry. Serving more of our family members, friends, and neighbors means more people on the move. It's common for us to rent other vehicles to join this church van to send groups of people from this church. We know it's better long-term to own rather than to rent. A second important use to a bus or a minivan would be to shuttle worshipers from a nearby elementary school when our parking lot is over capacity. Another one of those ripple effects is finding a home for the materials and church equipment that we have stored in the storage room in the auditorium and in the Salt's House. We need to build a storage garage in this area large enough to house the vehicles and the equipment and materials we need to keep ready for use. Every home has a basement or a garage or an attic. God's home needs one too. Friendship Church has about 7 acres here in the center of Canton, and several acres of it are still a rather untouched and heavily wooded portion of land. We want to make better use of this unique asset we have. There are 3 ways that we're thinking of. One is to create a picnic pavilion, a roofed shelter where people can have picnics somewhere between the lawn and the woods. This is useful for vacation Bible school programming, youth ministries, church campouts, and other things. A second is to create a quarter-mile prayer trail, a walking trail with periodic park benches and prayer stations, a place for people to reflect on their life and faith. The third part is to create a memorial garden, a place which is essentially a paver patio with nice landscaping where people could distribute cremains, and also have one of the paver bricks inscribed with a loved one's name as a permanent memorial to them. That's a long list, isn't it? Enlarging the sanctuary, adding 80 seats, 80 people, relocating the offices, creating a new youth center, building a storage building, adding a picnic pavilion and a walking prayer trail, and a memorial garden. It is a lot. In fact, it would be a miracle if we were able to do all of that in any short period of time. But that's what we believe we should do to prepare for the next wave. In fact, we've set aside September 30th as our Miracle Sunday. All we want you to do between now and then is to pray about how God may lead you to be a part of this miracle at Friendship Church so we can prepare for the next wave to come.